Okay, let's look at number 9 of the on the review. Okay, so it says solve for the unknown values. And so we look at A here, we can see that the unknown value is R. So we know that when we have a proportion, that the way to solve it is to cross multiply. So I'm going to take R times 4, and I'm going to get 4R. And I'm going to set that equal to 5 times 3, which is 15. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. This leaves me with R. And 15 divided by 4 is not going to be a whole number. It is going to be 3.75. If you know what that is since it's a terminating decimal, it's okay to simply write 3.75. If you had a big long decimal, you wouldn't want to do that. But another way you could do that is you could turn it into a fraction. One way to do that is to subtract the 3 out because you already wrote the 3 down. And then to do math, enter, and you get 3/4. This is the better way because it works even when you don't have a terminating decimal and you still have a correct answer. So go ahead and enter it in as a fraction. So that's what I'm going to do. On B, I also have to solve for the unknown variable, which is the x. So I'm going to cross multiply. On this one, I'm going to have to write that out because I can't just do it in my head. So I'm going to do 9 times the value of x plus 10. I'm going to set that equal to 3 times 4, which is 12. So now I have to solve this, and I can see that I need to distribute. So 9 times x is 9x, because this is a 1 here, 9 times 1. 9 times 10 is 90. And that's going to still be equal to 12. I'm not changing that. Then I'm going to subtract 90 from both sides. I'm going to get 9x equals, now here it's 12 minus 90. I know that's going to be a negative number, but if I don't know exactly what it's going to be, I can just use my calculator. And I get negative 78. Divide both sides by 9. And I get negative 8, and then a decimal. This is an example of a non-terminating decimal, so it's much better to write it as a fraction. So I'm going to, on this instance, to get it to 0, instead of minusing 8, I'm going to have to add 8. So I'm going to add 8 because now I just have my decimal here. Okay, and then if I hit math, enter, I'm going to get negative 2/3. But I already have my negative right here, so that's just negative 8 2/3. Clear that out. So on C here, we have to use what we know about similar figures. They would have to tell you that these two figures are similar. If you didn't know that, technically you could not do this proportional relationship. But I'm telling you, these two figures are similar. So because you know that these two figures are similar, you can set up a proportional relationship. I always like to do small to big, but just make sure you keep it straight, small to big. So 7 goes with x equals, and then I just have to pick one. I'm going to go 10 and 90. I'll go with 10 and 90. So 10 goes with 90. So then I simply have to cross multiply, and 10 times x is 10x, and 7 times 90 is 630. Divide both those by 10, and I get x equals 63. Okay, there's no labels here. It's not saying it's inches or feet or anything, so I do not have to put a label here. All right, so that's how we do C. Let's look at D. Once again, D is just a proportion, so I'm solving for the unknown value, which is n. So I'm going to take n times 7. I'm going to get 7n. Because they're across from each other, I'm going to take 5 times 3, and that's 15. Once again, this will not be a whole number, so I'll take 15 divided by 7, my calculator, and I can see I have a whole number of 2, and then I have a big old long decimal, so I'm going to minus my 2 out. Now that I just have my decimal, I'm going to hit math, enter, and I'm going to get 1/7. 2 and 1/7. Okay. So here we have a situation where we have two triangles. The first triangle that I see here is the smaller triangle, which I'm going to make red just so that it's a little easier to see it. Okay, and I can see that that is where my unknown value is. That is W. So I'm going to put the small on top, the big on bottom. It's got to keep them together. So the small is the W, and you can see that that goes with the 12. And this time it is labeled, so we need to remember that our answer is going to be in centimeters. Okay, we need to remember that. So W goes to 12. So then I have my big triangle, which is this triangle right here. Okay, you see it? So I have to pick a side from small to big. The small side you can see is this 16 right here. Do you see it? But does that go with just the 4? No, it goes with the 16 plus the 4. So I'm going to put 16 plus 4 right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just do that because it's going to make myself easier for myself if I change that into a 20. 16 plus 4 is 20. Okay? So then I set those equal to each other and I cross multiply. W times 20, because they're across from each other, is 20W. And 12 times 16. It's okay if you don't know how to do that in your head. Just get your calculator. You get 192. And then you simply divide that by 20. You get 9.6. Once again, that is a terminating decimal, so you could write it as 9.6. Or you could subtract that 9 out, and you could say 9, and then it's the decimal portion is the fraction portion. Math, inner, 9 3/5. Now don't forget, it's in centimeters. So whichever one you want to do is correct. Centimeters, we usually use decimals more often than not, so I'm going to use that one. But I would also accept it if you put centimeters here and call that your answer. They would both be correct. F says, you are measuring the height of the school and you spot the reflection on top of the building in a mirror on the ground. Suppose you are 5 and 9/10 feet tall and you're standing 3 feet away from the mirror. So the distance from the mirror to the base of the building is 10 feet. How tall is the school? Label the image below. Okay. So here what's so important is that you label each piece carefully. So it says, suppose you are 5.9 feet. So I'm going to label that. You are 5.9 feet here. This is how tall you are. Okay. And you are standing 3 feet away from the mirror. So this distance here is 3 feet. You got it? The distance from the mirror to the base of the building, so from here to here, is 10 feet. How tall is the school? So the school is here and here. That is what it's asking, so that's X. And remember, it's going to be X feet because everything else is feet. Okay? So from there, we can know that we can set up our proportions. So our small amount is 5.9. So let's go small to big again. Small is X. Oh, excuse me, small. Oh, I did that wrong. 5.9, right? And the big amount is X. Set that equal to, here's X is the big amount. And then here the small amount is 3, and the big amount is 10. So we do some cross multiplication, and we get 3X. And we do 5.9 times 10, and we get 59. We divide both sides by 3. This will not come out exactly right. 59 divided by 3, it's 19 and repeating 6. So you could say X equals 19, and because it's repeating 6, you could simply put a line over it and call that feet, or we can always put it as a fraction, which is my preferred method. So you simply minus the 19 out, you get the repeating decimal, you hit math, enter, and you say 2/3 feet. Okay, I thought these would be acceptable. This is my preferred method here, so this is what I will box. I would have accepted either answer. All right, let's look at G. On a sunny day, Bob's shadow is 5 feet long. Bob is merely 3.5 feet tall. Suppose Gru's house casts a shadow of 32 feet to the nearest tenth. How tall is Gru's house? Sketch and label a picture. So here's Bob. So Bob is only 3.5 feet. okay? And he casts a shadow that is 5 feet, okay? And then you have a house here that casts a shadow that is 32 feet. Okay, so let's go all the way to the edge of my paper here. And let's go down. There's my triangle there. And here's my triangle here. We're going to say they're similar triangles here. Okay, so what we don't know is this value right here. You see it? All right, so we're going to go from small to big. Our small amount is 3.5, and our big amount is x. Our small amount is 5, and our big amount is 32. So I'm going to do some cross multiplication. I'm going to get 5x, and then I'm going to put that in the calculator. 32 times 3.5 equals 112. I'm going to divide that by 5, and I get 22.4. And I could say that is feet, but once again, I could also put that as a fraction by simply minusing out the 22 and then hitting math, enter, enter, and I get 22 and 2/5 feet. Okay, that is question 9. Good luck on the test.